What's up? What's up? What's up? It's another episode of Speak Your Truth with your boy, Donley Divine. I'm sitting here with my lovely sister, Dolly, Mr. Sigma Uno, and today we have a marvelous guest. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to her, let her introduce herself.
All right. Good day. My name is Marvelous Olumu. I am first a student. I'm a teenager. I'm a reading coach. I am a writer. I am a spoken word artist and I'm a public speaker. It's nice meeting you.
You
So
mute.
you're
I had Marvelous reach out to me and she told me she wanted to practice the speaking and she had something she wanted to say. So, with it, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to her, let her tell her story. And with that, we're all going to listen. And then afterwards, of course, we're going to have a conversation. So go ahead, Marvelous. The floor is yours, okay?
all right. All right. It all started when I was still a child. In Nigeria, a lot of brain issues are not so known about. There's not this sensitization about what the issue is about and how to go about it. And so at a very young age, I had dyslexia. Yeah, as at then, I did not know it as dyslexia, right? I did not even know the name until recently. I just knew I had an issue that had to do with the brain and it affected every other area of my life. And I had to deal with it personally. Not because I did not have family members who I could reach out to, but because I grew up as someone who was taught to be independent. So if you have an issue, you sort it out by yourself first before you reach out to another person. So by the time I knew about this issue, okay, dyslexia, okay, this issue, what exactly is it about? Okay, how is it affecting me? Okay, yes, everybody is insulting this lady. Everybody is running away. Does not want to go near her, not because of she's not a good person, but because she has issues that people are not seeing. They only see the errors that are coming out of those issues, right? And so I had to sit myself down. And yes, as a child, I was a very, very curious person. I was very inquisitive. I wanted to know everything. Anything that has to do with the brain, I was after it. I never knew why, but I was just inquisitive. I was just that curious person. I did not initially love reading books, but I loved reading books later on. And it was one of the things that helped me in my learning journey and in my growth journey. And so at that time, I remember if anyone told me something this minute, in the next 5 minutes, I don't remember what the person said. I find very hard recalling what the person said. When it's time to write in class, my handwriting was one of the worst handwriting in class. I would write words and you would not be able to read through what I read. Why? Because my brain is writing faster than my hands are writing. Right? That's one of the issues with dyslexia. A dyslexia patient cannot write except one who has learned to manage it well, who has over time gotten so used to it and can now control it. A dyslexia patient normally would not write for you and be able to read through it. Not because the person does not know what the person is writing, but because the brain is faster than the hands. When the person is writing, the person believes, oh, I've written this thing, and the person moves on. But the person did not write, and the person would not notice unless the person goes back to it and start reading it again. The same thing with speech. When a dyslexia speaking patient is speaking, for me personally, I still speak fast. I would not disagree. I know currently I'm speaking fast and I'm trying to reduce my pace, right? But then one of the reasons why you find a dyslexia patient speaking very fast is because they don't want to spout of words. They don't want to say one thing that they did not say to the audience, but they believe they said, right? It sounds funny to a lot of people. It sounds impossible to a lot of people that why would you believe you said something in your head, but then people you are talking to did not hear of it. People you are talking to did not know you said that thing. But then it's quite possible. It happens over time. But then a lot of people would not take note of it because they don't know about it. They don't know it's an issue. They don't know it's a medical issue. They don't even believe it happens. Right? So for me personally, I found myself as a child growing up, I found myself always isolated. I don't speak to people because when I talk, you're not hearing what I'm saying. I'm talking too fast. You rarely pick my words. I'm talking very because I don't want to miss one. I know if I miss one word, you would not understand everything I say. So I want to say everything at once. And so I have to talk very fast to be able to pick up with the pace of my brain. Right. And so I dealt with that issue for a very long time. A lot of people I had to stop conversing with people because I would have to repeat myself over and over again for people to get what I am saying. And it became very, very hard for me to start repeating myself. And so I had to even stop conversing with people. I talked with very, very few people. And even God was at the point where the abuse I also went through added to it, right? And so at that time, yeah, books were my solace. right? Because I knew my writing was not so good. Yeah, I can read, not an issue. I can read very, very fast. I can read and assimilate within minutes. But then writing everything I've read, or writing whatever it is I want to say was an issue because one, my writing was not good. Two, whatever it is that I wrote, you would not be able to read because I would miss out one or two words. And if I was going to write everything, you would not be able to read because my writing was not legible enough. And so writing was my solace, singing was my solace, reading was my solace. Those were the three basic things I was doing growing up. You would never find me outside playing with other kids. You never find me outside talking to other kids. You never find me in front of the TV. The day they tried putting me in front of the TV, oh, marvelous, go and watch TV. I would sleep off. I would not even be able to stay there for 30 minutes, right? Because it was not my thing. That was not what I found solace in. That was not what I found myself doing over time. That was not what I grew up with. Even till now, I still struggle with watching screens for a very long time. Though I've gotten better, right? And so, how did I even go about this thing? How did I become better to the point where I am able to write down my words without missing out the point I am meant to write down? How did I get to the point where I am able to speak and you can pick my words, you can hear me? Yes, I'm still speaking fast, but then I am better than I was, and I'm still working on reducing the pace of my speech, right? Because I know I'm still going to speak on more platforms, so I have to work on it. How did I work on retaining information? How did I work on, yes, I can assimilate, but remembering what I assimilated was an issue. How did I work on my retention capacity? How did I work on it? Right? So the things I did were, looked very simple to me. Though to a lot of people, it's hard, right? But then for me, it actually looked simple. Now I'm saying it's simple, but at the time when I was doing it, it was very hard for me to do. So for my writing issue, I did just one thing. I make sure I wrote at least one page every day. And whatever it is that I wrote, I was majorly writing. You would not find me writing, not just I will not just wake up one morning and start writing. No. I would sit down, I would start writing fiction stories as at then. If I'm not writing fiction stories, I was writing different songs. Right? Yeah, those things I just wrote them for writing sake and they were gone. But then it helped me improve on my writing. I started learning over time that consistently writing, I would be able to write down my words one after the other without leaving anyone out. And so doing that for a very long time, I think it was until I got to junior secondary school before I was able to properly write without missing out words. So I struggled with it for over 7 years. If I was finally able to start writing without missing words out, and people would be able to read what I wrote. For my speaking is still a work in progress. Still a work in progress. But then my liberation in speaking started from when I met a certain friend of mine in primary school. And so he was a guy actually. I did not have friends. I've never been this person that would wake up one morning and just start having friends. Even till now, I have very few friends. Right. So for this friend of mine, they were actually two. The two of them they've been watching me. Okay, this girl, she's always coming to class, does not speak to anybody, always on her own. This okay, yeah, I was scary. You would find it very hard approaching because I found it out smiling, right? I had to start learning how to smile when I was in senior secondary school. Yeah. So I found it very hard smiling. So you would not even want to approach me because I did not look approachable. I usually behaved like a tomboy because I had the stature of a guy and I was bobbing my hair. So if you did not know me as a female, you did not find me wearing a female dress, you think I'm a guy. That was how bad it was. So I was not approachable. You would not wake up one morning and say you want to come and meet me. You're looking for trouble. Because the moment and I even had anger issues following it. So the moment you come to me and you're saying nonsense and I know that's not what you're saying, I can beat you up on the spot. And that's the end. So people found it very hard approaching me. But then these two guys, they decided, okay, what approach are we going to use to get this girl to talk to us or to make us our friends? I did not have friends, so they did not even know how they could get through to me. And so as at that time, these two guys, they started with academics. Yeah, I was good academically. I was sound academically. There's no dyslexia patient who is not intelligent. Every dyslexia patient is very, very intelligent. But then their speech, their writing, and their retention and their is it retention now? Their remembrance, sorry, is where their issue comes in, right? I even have a friend who is still struggling with dyslexia, though I met him recently and we started working towards this liberation. So they came in through academics. got to meet our teacher. Sir, want to be sitting, I want to sit down with this girl because no one was my seatmate. You cannot come and wake up one night and come and start sitting down beside me. It's not possible. Unless you want to sit down with a ghost that's not going to talk to you throughout. So they started with sitting down beside me during class, come and meet me. Oh, can you explain this thing to me? Yeah, I would explain. I have no issue with it. Would explain. And so over time, I found out that okay, these people they were not going to judge me. They were not going to criticize me. They were friendly. And so I decided, okay, let me start talking to these people. And so I started talking to these guys. And so over time, we became friends, and I started to share with them. And I found out that, okay, these guys can pick my words no matter how fast I am. And so that was actually one of the things that made me keep my friendship with them or sustain my friendship with them. Right. And so we were friends until now we are still friends. And so these guys always made sure I talk every single day. Once I'm in school and they're in school, I must talk. So talking to them, whenever I was talking too fast, Marvelous, you're talking too fast. And I would have to, you know, pause and continue again. And that was where my liberation started from. Right. Yes, before then, I had taken my time when nobody was there to stand in front of it. I did not even like looking at the mirror. So I would just stand and be talking to myself. You think I'm mad? If you saw me that time when I'll just sit down and say, I don't go. I'm always inside my room. So you cannot even know if I'm around. If you don't know that I've come home, you will not know I'm around. So I would sit in my room. I know that there's nobody comes to look for me except probably they need my attention and they need me to do something. Nobody's coming to disturb. Nobody's because there's nothing else to come and talk to me about. I'll answer you. There's nothing else except it's something I know that involves me that would answer you. And so I would always sit down in my room and I'll be talking to myself, oh, this, and this. Oh, this person said this. And I would just be talking and talking and talking and talking because I was trying to reduce my pace. But what I did not know was doing it by myself would not give me the entire liberation I wanted, would not have given me what exactly I needed. And so having these two guys who were my friends helped me pause when I was too fast and continue when I was at a slower pace, reduced the pace at which I was speaking. It helped me. All right. But then I found out, oh, again, when I think that was in junior secondary school, when we had a debate. And everybody was like, oh, I cannot talk fast, I cannot talk fast, I cannot talk fast, I cannot do this debate. Oh, this. And there was this marvelous somewhere that was always sitting in the corner. She doesn't want to talk to anybody because everybody had complained that she's too fast. But she knew the point to give for that debate. She knew what to say for that debate. But then for the fear of someone getting her and saying you are talking too fast or you have nothing to say, she kept quiet somewhere. Until someone who knew me and knew how fast I talk mentioned my name to our teacher. And that was when I knew that it was not a cause for me to speak too fast. It was just depending on the situation I found myself that would determine if the pace I was speaking was right or was wrong. Right. But then at that point in time, I had already started working on my pace. I already knew, okay, if I'm talking too fast, you have to pause and retrace your speech. I knew at that point in time already that because yes, for myself and those my two friends, we were together for over 5 years before I finally left primary school and went into junior secondary school. And we had to depart because we were in different schools. But then those 5 years helped my speech. Those 5 years had an impact in the pace at which I talked. And so that was where the liberation for my speaking started from. Before I continued, then from the debate situation where I was able to speak outside for the first time. I think that was my first time of speaking in public, if I'm not wrong, that I was not criticized. I think that should be the right word to use because I was speaking in public before then, but then because I was too fast, they, shut me down and the rest. That aside. And so, yeah, I continued like that. And secondary school, senior secondary school, see, I finished. I did different boot camps, and people started recognizing, oh, this girl has this thing, this girl can do this. And I continued my life that way. So for my retention, how did I do it? Yeah, till now, I actually still struggle with remembering things. I would not disagree with that. I still struggle with it. But then I found out that's one hack I can always use if I'm going to remember something. Yeah, a lot of people have insulted me. Hey, you talk too fast. Hey, they tell you one thing 1 minute. Next minute, you don't remember. They have to repeat something for you 3 times, 4 times. They will call your name. You will never remember that your name was called. Right? I heard those words. Yeah, they pained me a lot. And it also taught me to not always use other people's words to judge myself. because there was always a blessing in every course. There's always a blessing in every course. There's always a gain in every pain, right? Yeah, those things are part of the things that shaped me into who I am today. Reading books, it also those factors were one of the many factors that led me to becoming so engrossed in reading, right? And so for my retention, I think yeah, I was still struggling with yeah, academic. I was not struggling with remembering my academic books. So I was not struggling at all. Academics, I don't think I've ever struggled with academics. No, but then when someone says something, just I forgotten. Sorry. Next person is saying the next thing. It is the last person to talk. I remember the other people what they said. I've forgotten about it, and I struggled with it until I think it was Pass on the Baton or Think Big, one of those two books. I'm sorry, one of Pass on the Baton. I know I've forgotten who was Pass on the Baton and Think Big by Ben Carson. So I read those two books and I found out that for Pass on the Baton, I cannot really remember, but I know that reading that book changed my perspective of my remembrance because I read in that book about some a guy that had issues with his life and a lot of people were talking down on him, but he still got out well and it gave me hope. Then reading Ben Cassie's story in Think Being about how he was a dullard and reading, growing and the rest helped him. I knew okay, there was hope for me. There was a solution somewhere that I've not found. There is still something I can do that I've not seen. Right? I knew it already. And so it was not left for me to find out what is that one thing I've not done? What is that one thing I need to do to get the liberation or the result I want to get? And so I started to I started to check out on the internet. Yeah, I had access to the internet at a very young age. I had access to the computer at a very young age. It was not something my dad kept away from any of his children. There was always a computer, there was always an internet access. And so I had the opportunity to search the internet, to check for whatever it is that I wanted at that point in time. And so I started searching. You know, my daddy already knew the type of child he has. I loved reading, I loved researching. And so he bought books for me every single week. I was always reading a new book every week. There's no book in my house I've not read. Science, fiction, whatever book it is. I read every single one of it. Because I was looking for solutions. Aside from learning and growing, I was also looking for solutions. Right. And so when I finally learned how to make use of Google, make use of search engine, make use of internet properly, I started researching on the internet. And you would find me with I would be seated out 24/7, carry my book and pen, and I'm looking for okay, what brain issue is this? Okay, what brain issue could have led to this? What brain this thing is this? And I became so interested in the brain, right? And I always told myself if I was going to grow up in the nearest future, whatever course it is I'm studying, if it's not related to the brain, I'm doing nothing at all, right? It builds that resilience. The first time I told my daddy I was going to the neuro side of science, my dad was like, neuro, what are you looking for there? What prompted you there? He almost actually discouraged me because he never ever thought of it. I was going to go there until my auntie came to intervene. I was like, it's good. There's nothing bad in that going for it. As far as she wants to, leave her to do it. And I have to start researching. What can I even do? This thing is getting out of hand. I'm growing. It will get to a point in time when nobody will want to tell me something because they believe I'll forget. It will get to a point in time when nobody would. There will be a special information. Someone would have told me, but I've forgotten because I don't remember. So what can I do? How do I get the solution to this thing? And then one day, when someone told me something, I picked out one important word out of that person's. And the next 5 days, the person came to meet me and said, "What did I say in the 5 days ago?" And when the person said 5 days ago, I remember that I picked one important word 5 days ago. Okay, then I now started to rack my brain. What did I pick out this five word 5 days ago from? And that was how I remembered what that person said. And I found out that all the remembrance techniques I've been trying over time, trying to use picture and picture, trying to pick one letter A and letter B, be doing anchoring. It was not working for me. It was just one word I needed to know in whatever it is that the person said for me to remember. And that was how I was able to get my liberation there. That was how I was able to, get out of that situation where I have to start thinking of, oh, what did I say or what did I not say? What did this person say? What did this person not say? Because I finally found out what exactly works for me. And that's why I would always say when someone comes to me with a reading problem, I would not wake up because yes, I'm a reading coach. And so because of those struggles I passed through and knowing that using different things following different techniques that different people gave me did not work for me, never worked for me. So just that one thing of picking the important word and making sure that word is as important as that statement that person made what has been helping me to remember whatever it is I hear, whatever it is someone says, whatever it is I help someone. When someone comes to me with a reading problem or with a retention, whatever problem it is someone comes to me with, I would never tell you because this thing works for me to work for you. No, because I know everyone is unique. Everyone has a unique solution to their own unique problem. The problem might be similar, but if you go on that route, you find out it's not similar. For the other dyslexia patients I've met over time, I'm sorry, my tongue ties at times. For the other dyslexia, I found out that for me, what works for me is different from what is going to work for them. The one I met in my university, my current classmate, and you know, I've been okay. He told me that because I found out over time, he will tell this person, he's trying to tell this person something, but then what he feels he's saying is not what he's saying. And for me, I have been in that situation before. So I understood what the problem was. And everybody's always like, no, now this is not what he said. And I'm like, no, this is what I said. No, he's trying to because that's what his brain has registered. His brain has said that, believes it has said it. That's what his brain will tell him it has said. But that's not what his mouth said. Because probably it was something he wanted to say before or after what he was meant to say that he said. But for him, he believed he said the same thing was meant to say. And so I found that okay, his own issue is not even about remembering what someone said, like mine was. Yeah, his writing is not so good, but his handwriting is even better than mine. Yeah, he's right. You can if you don't know what you are reading, you cannot go and read his book because his brain is still faster than his hands. His brain is still faster than his speech. Unlike me, I've trained my brain over time to work with my speech and with my hands, right? And so I found that okay, for him, I cannot tell him to go and do the same thing I did. If I'm going to recommend a solution to him, he would have to first of all work on making his brain, his speech, and his hands to work together. That's where his liberation is going to start from. Unlike me, we have to start from my hands before I worked on my speech. And so that's how it has been. Over time, yeah, I'm still growing, I'm still improving, I'm still learning. In the nearest future, I might find out another option or another way to remember things faster than I already do. I might find out another way to reduce the pace of my speech when needed and to increase it when needed. But for now, that is what is still working for me. Concerning my writing, I don't write so much with my hands again, but then typing with my fingers has also helped me consistently train my hands to still work with my brain in accordance with what my brain is doing or saying. And whenever it is, I find out that my brain is trying to move faster than either my hands or my mouth. I pause it, whatever it is that is going on in my brain, because I've learned to make everything be in my control. I pause whatever it is that's going on in my brain. Do what has been processed before I continue thinking of doing something else. Because no matter how much you try, yeah, there are some parts of your brain that you cannot control. There are some things you cannot control. There are some actions that are not voluntary. They are involuntary. You cannot control them. And so whenever you have the chance to control them, if you are not fast enough, you will lose control of them and you will go haywire. So instead of going haywire, you have to also learn to be fast, right? You have to learn to be fast to do whatever it is your brain has processed and you have not done and you need to do. If I have processed before that, okay, I'm meant to buy, I'm meant to subscribe to my internet connection in 1 hour, and I want to type out content I'm going to put on my social media platform also in that 1 hour. What is going to be on my mind is what I want to type out on my social media platform. If I don't subscribe to my internet connection that instant, I'm going to forget about it unless an emergency comes up, right? Because my brain has moved to the next thing. I cannot control it. It's involuntary. But if it was another point where I was thinking of two of them at the same time, I can still control it. And so that's how my dyslexia journey has been. I'm still working. I'm still a work in progress. I'm not perfect, but then I am better than I was. Thank you very much.
You have a very fast brain. It was funny listening to your story, how you were talking about how you were kind of isolated from everybody and you really enjoyed reading and singing. It made me think of my wife. Like with her growing up, she would always be away from people as well. She was always in books. She had like kind of a lisp, So she went and her mom put her in speech classes. And so that's how she kind of got a little more comfortable with talking to people. But even to this day, a lot of people feel like she's very unapproachable. People always usually see her because she always just has like just a I call it a regular face, but people take it as in like she's looking unapproachable. They call it a RBF, a rest in B face. So I find that interesting. So a lot of people kind of avoid her. You said that you really enjoyed reading. I'm like, books
Yeah.
equal knowledge. And as you kept on going, like I wrote that down, and as you kept on telling your story, I was like, yeah, this is a very intelligent woman. They say that bad handwriting leads relates to the intelligence of an individual. So when you said your handwriting was bad, I was like, a lot of doctors, lawyers, and stuff, their handwriting is kind of caca. So don't feel bad about that at all. One thing that did stand out is you said you had to work on your hands before you worked on your speech. My question is, for your mind, does your mind need to constantly be stimulated?
Sorry, what did you say?
Your mind, does your mind need to constantly be stimulated? Like you need to constantly be doing something?
Not exactly, but then for me, I am more of a spontaneous person.
Oh,
So
okay.
if I'm going to do something, most times I just do it. I don't plan for it. And one of the reasons why I avoid planning most times is because the moment I plan for something and my brain or my mind begins to process another thing, whatever it is I planned, I've either flop it or I tweak it.
Okay.
I had a public speaking engagement last year. I wrote
Yes.
out, okay, it was a spoken word present performance, and I already wrote out my spoken word piece. It was a two-page piece. I said, okay, this is what I am presenting, and the program was a business program. Yeah, dominating business. Answer was to relate reading and business through my spoken word piece. I had written my spoken word piece. I had even rehearsed with a friend. I recorded it and I sent it to a friend. My friend already said, "Oh, this is perfect. It's going to work well. It's going to touch people." No, all those things. I was hyped already. And
Yes.
then it got to the day of the program, and every single word I had written went out. Every single thing I had practiced went out. A different piece was what was on my head. Well, that was a different, a different, completely different piece was what was ringing on my head till I got to the stage.
Cheese and
Like
bread.
that was it was a completely different thing that was ringing on my head till I got to the
Mhm.
stage. And when I got to the stage, it was pieces of the ones I've written before that was coming in. And so I had no choice. The new one and the old one, I had to tweak them together and start with it. I started with the new piece, brought the old piece in between, and I was just bringing it in between each other.
Did it
And
all
I
flow
found that later
together?
on, I found that later on
Chris.
that if I had used just the old piece, it would not have touched people the way the interwoven one touched people. Because afterwards, a lot of people have come and meet me, oh, I love your speech. How did you write it? But for me, I knew it was spontaneous. I did not write this in anywhere. I did not even
Talk about
write.
that right there was just freehand. Ultimately, it's like, you know what? I didn't plan it like this. It just happened like this.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. A very good friend, a very good friend, who is my best friend now.
mhm.
That was what made the person come and meet me that day. So the person was surprised. I've not heard something like this before. How did you do it? I was like, I did not do anything much. I just got there and I carried the mic and I started speaking. You know, and that has not been the only spot where it has happened to me. At different points in time, when people say, Marvelous, take the mic and do something, I don't plan for it. I rarely plan for speech. If I plan for a speech, I'll flop whatever it is I wrote. So I don't even bother. The least I can do is to write important points and leave it there.
You are lucky. I'm not gonna lie. I get nervous. Like I feel like for
Oh,
me, I
Chris,
would get nervous and kind of freeze up. You just be like, da 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 da. Like, that
that's her
man.
superpower. That
That's
is
what
her
I'm saying.
superpower.
To be
Yeah,
able to flow
see,
like that.
wow.
So you know how earlier you said that a lot of people tell you like you speak fast. When I was growing up, people used to try and say the same thing to me. I'm like, I'm not speaking fast. You just listening slow. So so when
Yeah,
you said that, I was like, and I had wrote that down to tell you that too, because I remember you said that you had ended up meeting those two friends, and they told you, okay, you're talking fast, and you'd be like, oh, pause, and then you would kind of like slow down a little bit. My question for you is, when you slow down the way that you speak, do you feel like sometimes you're changing yourself to make others comfortable?
Okay, I grew up as a people pleaser. Let me use that statement. Growing
That
up,
answers the
from when I was
question.
very young, I grew up as a people pleaser,
Yeah.
right? And I actually I have a speaking engagement June 16 where I'm going to talk about identity crisis. I grew up with identity crisis. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I knew I had potentials. I knew I was highly intellectual. I know my intellect was very high. But then I pleased people more than I pleased myself. I started learning how to please myself first, not long ago. So long time I met a friend recently that I started learning to put myself first, right? So and
Yes.
at that point in time, I felt it was normal. Yeah, I actually felt weird. I'll be like, why am I even slowing down? Say, people, I'm uncomfortable when I'm slowing down. I was always that way. It got at a point. Sometimes I will get violent and I'll be like, I'm not doing it again. I'll even tell them I will beat people. You know, it's not take my anything to beat people. And
That's
they'll be like,
no.
obvious. No, we understand. Obvious, calm down. Obvious, calm down. Calm down. We're
Yep.
not fighting. But then I was not
Do you feel
comfortable. Till now, if I'm talking to somebody and you tell me to slow down, I'll be like, see, if you're not listening to me, I'll not talk again. Just get out of my sight. Because it annoys me when I have to start. No, it annoys me when I have to start talking one after the other. That's something. And like what? If I enter a class and the lecturer is doing A plus B, see, I would not learn anything in that class. I will just carry my bag and I'll leave the class.
I don't.
I
I
had
don't
a
blame
teacher.
you.
Drop that class.
I had a teacher
Yeah.
like that in my secondary
yeah,
school.
right.
I don't listen to that man in his class. Once the one is teaching, I carry my textbook and I'm doing something else because I know I'll get zero from his class. The moment you start doing
Mm.
Mr. A plus Mr. B, come on, what are you? Please talk. But some people enjoy it. Some people enjoy it. I have friends who enjoy you talking one after the other. But see, we cannot relate. I will throw you one side and leave you. But that's how it has always been. I was once a people pleaser. But then, even as at that, I'm actually grateful for that time, for that help, because it
Hmm.
has helped me also. Yeah, it was not comfortable then, but then it also helped me.
Okay. That's good. That's good. And yes, you are 100% right. So please yourself before pleasing anybody else. I mean, some people try and say that that is selfish, but when it comes down to it, like if you are not, I was actually talking to somebody earlier today. I was like, if you are stuck trying to be something, if you're not walking in who you are, you're going to run across a lot of obstacles, which therefore will make it harder for you to do what your purpose is because you're not being what you truly are. So I mean, definitely please yourself before you try and please anybody else. I
Yeah,
know
we
Mr. Sigma Uno, I think he was about to ask a question.
Okay.
So, do you feel like when you were growing up, your parents wanted to change who you were?
Sorry, what did you say?
When you were growing up as a child, did you believe that your parents wanted to change that about you? Your ability to speak as fast as you were speaking?
Okay, I would say, okay, I'm trying to pick the right word here. So,
Mm.
growing up, like I said earlier, I was trained to be independent. So, majority of the struggles I went through growing up, my parents don't know majority of it, right? My
Mm.
dad was used to me talking fast, and for my mom, we already spoke. So she's
Hmm.
not really
Mm.
take note of this girl is talking too fast or she's talking too slow. What the speech, whatever conversation was going to be between us was going to be one or two words. So there was no need for me to talk too fast or to talk too slow. And my
Wow.
dad I usually had conversations with. So it was majorly my dad was used to me talking fast, right?
So,
So
wow.
he did not
does your
manage
dad
to speak.
does, does your dad talk as fast as you talk? Is that where you feel
No,
like you got it from?
my dad does not talk as fast as I talk. Though my dad actually also talks fast, but his own is still on a moderate level.
But he does understand you.
Yeah.
Your dad. Wow. I
That's
mean, that's your ability to learn and your ability to speak. Wow. I mean, when you talked about debating, that's huge because that's where it comes in really well. And but you were saying that they were trying to tell you to slow down too. That's not normal in debating because it means that you're processing, you're reading, understanding, and processing is a lot on a lot higher level than anybody you were debating with. And that's amazing. That's your superpower.
Thank you.
Wow, that's
Thank
amazing.
you.
what I
Thank
thought
you.
about. I literally
Yeah,
thought the same thing. I was like, her brain when because she said her brain was moving
Moves
way
fast.
faster than her hand
right.
And that's something like for me,
Writing.
my brain is like pew, and I can't get the words out. Sometimes I would literally eat. My brother can attest to this. I will eat
Right.
my words because I can't get it out fast enough. Because it's like pew 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 pew. So I can relate to you on
Right.
that. You're saying
Right.
like trying to process like you're smart. You know what I'm saying? And so
You're
you're like
super smart.
you're oh my gosh. And sometimes people try to
Thank you very
dim that
much.
light like no, you
Don't
can't
let him
hide
do that. Don't let him do
hide
that.
Oh my gosh, you are highly intelligent.
Wow.
Man, oh my goodness.
Thank you
I
very
Yeah.
much.
mean, she said she was interested in neuroscience.
That was a
I
question I
mean,
had.
literally a brain surgeon here. We're talking to someone who wanted to be a brain surgeon. Like, come on.
Oh,
I think the only thing that competes with
Wow.
that is rocket science. Like, cheese and bread,
wow.
man. Marvelous, you
She
are
could
marvelous.
actually.
I remember you were talking. If I'm not mistaken, you said that like your short term. Somebody would say something to you, you kind of wouldn't like remember what they had said. Would you say that your long term memory is? How do I ask this question? Your long term versus short term memory. Do you feel that you have a better long term memory than short term memory?
Yes, I would say that because for me, what I did not, if you say something now and I don't remember it now, and
Hmm.
you ask me after a very long time, the moment you mention one word from what you said that time, it triggers every other thing you said, right? For a
Okay.
lot of people, for me
Mm.
personally, I think I actually prefer that. I prefer it that way because if you ask me now, in the next 1 hour, I forget everything you did. But if you come to me 5 years after and you repeat at least one act out of what you did to hurt me,
She
everything comes back,
remembers that
and I
kind of
remember
stuff.
every single thing you did.
Yeah, I
And
was
I
just,
remember the
okay,
same
okay.
thing,
So
same
hold
way
on,
you did.
I got a follow up question to that. Do
Yo,
you? I know of some people. I know of some people. I met a few people who do this, where they take things and like my mother in law. She describes it as in like she puts them into like folders in her mind. I was like, okay. I've talked to some other people and they described it as in they it's on some other people described it as in taking a book and putting it on a bookshelf, and therefore when somebody says something like, oh, it's in this one, and they grab it and can recite it like that. Would you say that you're kind of like that too, to where it's like you might not remember right then and there, but later on it's like you know exactly where to go to get it in your head?
For me, I have over time I learned to make my mind and my head free because if
Hmm.
my head or my mind is clogged, I would not be able to do anything comfortably, right? Because of my personality, the moment the excitement dies off, when my brain is still clogged, I cannot do it again. And so I make sure my and my mind is always free. And so the only thing that would make me remember what exactly you said or you did is just you just need to mention. You might just mention fight, or you might just mention book
Mm.
and bring the person's face
Mm.
to me, and I remember everything. It's like a
Okay.
trigger. The moment I see one trigger, everything rush back in.
Oh, that's
photographic memory.
dope. Yeah, that's dope. So and all so what I'm
Wow.
hearing, what I think I'm hearing is if you read or see anything, you're always going to remember it. But if you're told something, you might not remember it.
Yeah, I might not remember it immediately, but once there's a trigger in the nearest time, I
Yeah.
remember.
It's photographic memory.
She's taking
Hey,
it to the so
I need, I
she's
need,
taking
I need you when I take tests. I need
she's
you
taking
when
on
I
the
take.
information so fast.
You know? Just so you know, if I'm ever like beside you when we're taking tests, I'm just gonna look at you, and be like, and then point to a question, just be like, you know. So when you force yourself to speak slow, when you force yourself to, when you would slow down your speech, everything's still moving how it does in your head, right?
Yeah,
So
depending on how I allow it.
and when you do that, do you often end up forgetting what you were trying to say because that moment's already gone in your head?
It actually depends on the context of the conversation. If
Hmm.
I know what I wanted to say before is important, I make sure I pause whatever it is that I'm going to say next. I don't say it. I know it's processing, but then I do what I can to stop it from coming out. And I say what I was meant to say. But if I know whatever it is I was meant to say is not so important, and later on I can trigger that speech and say it again, I leave it and allow it go. Or I pick one important word from it and say, okay, I tell myself, okay, this important word is going to be the trigger, because I know once I have a trigger, I remember whatever it is I was meant to say. So I pick the
Mm.
important word and I'm repeating that word in my head. One side of my head is repeating that, or I write it down somewhere and I can look at it. And oh, this word, okay, what exactly made me to start remembering this word? Or what exactly made me write this word
Mm.
down? And that triggers the entire speech.
Damn. You are the definition of think before you speak. Like,
I was gonna ask her, like, do you write down things so that you don't forget because everything is going so fast at times? Because is that like is that
Mm.
something you practice often? But you kind of just answered it because I was like,
The
wait, I
important
wonder,
things.
you know? Yeah, like I got
Mm.
sticky notes everywhere.
yeah, you really do. Your house is like a rainbow.
He knows. I'm like, yes, yes. I have a question. I have a few questions. I look. So the first question I had, how does your emotions affect
All
the
right.
way that you speak? Like, sometimes if I'll use myself, sometimes if I
Hmm.
get
My
like
emotions.
anxious,
Do my
yeah,
emotions really have an effect on my speech? I don't think so.
okay, that's good. Okay, all right. I was going to ask you. Okay, I said now during the time when you were working on your speech, how did that experience affect your mental health? Like, so before you had encountered those two friends that helped you, how did that affect your mental health? Not having anybody in your circle, and trying
Isolation.
to navigate, you know, yeah, trying to navigate everything. How did that affect you mentally?
Mentally, I would not say it did not affect me, but then it did not really, really, really affect me. It affected my self esteem. That was the
Okay.
major thing that actually affected, because I did not really feel hurt, because I learned to accept that people would not like me. I
Mm.
learned to accept
Mm.
that people would not want to listen to me. So it also helped me reduce the odds, or because I even became to it, I became to the pain and the odds that came with people isolating me, not wanting to listen to me. Until now, if I'm talking and you say and you are not listening, I will not be affected, because I've gone through it and I've become so to it that I don't even, if you tell me, if I'm talking to you now and you tell me you don't want to listen to me again, I'll carry my two legs and I'm moving. You would even think that what you said hurt me, but then it did not even pinch me, not talk of hurting me, right? But at that time, it affected my self esteem, right? I started to think of who would love me. I started to think of who would be ready to accept this girl. I started to think of how do I even get at least one person that I can talk to,
Mm.
right? I know some people would ask, you have family members, wouldn't you have talked to them? But then growing up, I was not so interested with speaking with family members. I was not interested. I was more interested with speaking with those outside of the family than speaking with those inside the family.
Mm.
That's
Right,
deep.
right. Because I think it was in one of the books I read back then. I was a lot of books. I read books outside of my league. They will say, yeah, at this age, don't read this book. All those truths, I don't need to follow it. Oh, see, now I don't follow it. If you tell me on that 20, on that 25, don't read this book. That's the book I want to go and read. You tell me this book is for those that are married. Give me the book. I want to read it now. You tell me if you have not had a business that is making 1 million naira, don't open this book. I'm sorry. That's the book I'm opening immediately. Because that's how I've always been. You dare me, I
Man.
challenge you.
I love it.
Right. So I read books out of my league. There are some books I read when I was very young. You would never believe I read those books.
Hmm.
You would never even believe I was able to finish that book, because everybody believes it's not for people my age. It was not for people of my class.
Mm.
Right. So I read back then that though I would not just build relationships between my family members. My
Hmm.
family members can leave me any day, anytime. I can leave them any day, anytime. They can desert me any day. But those that are not family, that you build a strong relationship with, will find it very hard leaving you alone. And so I was after building relationships outside of the family. I was also after building a connection, a network that was outside of the family, because it is that network and that connection outside of the family that will still come back and help the family that I have inside.
Wow.
And so I was always, I was always mentally stressed, thinking of how to connect to people, how to talk to people, how to get people to listen to me. No, it actually affected me. I would not say it did not affect me because I was always stressed, trying to get people to accept me. Yeah, at the beginning, it did not really, the results were not so evident, right? But later in life, or should I say my recently should be around 2021 or so. Recently, those people I had reached out to back then, I wanted to be friends with back then, that did not want to be friends with me because they felt this girl has a lot of comma, she's too fast in talking and writing, you can never even read it. They felt I was a snob, they felt I was proud. I don't
Mm.
need to smile, so I was unapproachable. I was babbing my hair. I look like a guy. I don't use earrings. I don't use necklaces. Back then I used to wear trousers. So you would not even really record. You see me coming from afar, you will not know it's a girl.
Mhm.
So I was unapproachable. But now majority of them are now reaching out to me because they want to be friends with. They want to be known with me. They want to be friends with me. So that
Hmm.
mental stress, that mental breakdown, that mental dreaming back then, the self-esteem issues I was dealing with back then, as at then, it affected me, yeah. But then I can see the impact now. I'm reaping the results now in a positive way.
I love it. I love it. Just to see like the way, just hearing you speak about what you've gone through, how you overcame it, and just your overall take on life in general is beautiful. Some people they wouldn't have that same mindset. Like
Thank you.
it is what it is. I was dealt a bad hand, but it's one of those like, okay, I was given this, but what am I going to do with it to overcome it? And you've overcame it and some, and you're still working through these things. Like neurosurgery is amazing, and to be black and a woman, amazing. So, as from one woman to another, I am so proud of you, and I'm in your corner rooting for you. And
Thank
when
you.
you when you go and pass the board and pass your
Thank
exam
you.
for surgery, just know Dolly's in your corner, rooting for you, way over here across the ocean. I'm about in tears.
Mm.
That's
Thank you very much.
yes.
You have anything to add, Mr. Sigma Uno?
I had some questions about how this. I just wonder. I mean, you're an amazing person. I've only met one other person like you, and I I wish I kept in contact. That was during the time I was going to school, and they were just so. Everyone around them didn't add up to who they were, and it wasn't like they were arrogant. They were just themselves, and their mind went so quickly. Their mind was working so quickly, and everything they did was so quickly, and it was precise, and then they were successful at literally everything that they did. So when you do your spoken word,
Ah, no, 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 no. Mr.
Good.
Sigma Uno. It's all, I don't know what's up with it, but every single time bro man starts to cook, it's like someone turns the stove off on him. Every single time he starts to get into
oh
what he's
man,
saying. Okay, is he back? Hey, you did your
okay,
notorious thing and
oh man.
started talking and it froze up on you.
Man, and I closed
Spoken
all the
word.
other
Hey,
browsers
Mr.
for
Sigma
this.
Uno, I think
All right.
from now on, I'm be like, hey, come over to my place. Come over to my place. I'm about to set up a setup to where no matter what, I can have. I'll
Right.
always be able to have at least like two other people here with mics and everything. I'm about to start doing that. That's my next goal.
Gotcha. But with your spoken word poetry, does it come from heart to mind, or is it just all in your mind? Is it things that you see? Is it what you feel? Or is it just from your mind, or things that you've read, or things that you understood? And it sounds to me, this is a two-part question, because it sounds to me like you came here knowing stuff, and all that information was reeling in your mind. Is that true? Is a portion of that true?
No,
You don't have to
Read
write
it.
it down.
like I said earlier, I'm more of a spontaneous person. When I was talking with my best friend and it was like, okay, you're going on this podcast to share your story. I was like, fabulous. And what are you going to say? What are you going to say? he knows I'm a spontaneous person already. But then he just wanted to know, okay, what are the one or two things you are going to say? Can you even tell me? And I'll be like, okay, there's not so much I'm going to say. I've written about some of these things. Some of the things I've said there, I missed out on this when I was writing about my story on my Facebook social media, on my platform on Facebook, right? And I've always said it. I'm a spontaneous person, right? So you can ask me one question now. I answer you in one way. I answer someone else in a different way. You will never find me answering two persons the same way. So I did not actually plan to answer the questions they asked me the way I'm answering them. They all just came like that. And then for my spoken word pieces, I've learned over time to whatever it is I'm going to say, if I don't understand it in depthly, I don't talk about it. I learned over time to do it, right? And one of the reasons why I learned how to do it is because I know anybody can ask me anything anytime. Anybody can wake up one morning and ask me questions. And so if I've spoken about this thing before, and you felt, oh, this girl gave grandma everything she said, touched one by one, and then you bring one question, and I'm looking at you like, it's going to be a slap on my face. And so when I want to write a spoken word piece, I write from experience, I write from understanding, and I make sure I'm speaking from what I know, what I've passed through, and what I understand. Yeah, it might even be something I read, but if there's one thing about me, when I am reading anything, the moment I found out one thing I don't know, I would research. I would every possible information I can get on it. I'm researching on it, right? The first time I knew about, I'm trying to remember this issue. I think it was a brain also. I think it was one. It's one type of brain. The first time I knew about that brain, my daddy bought. I think he bought 10 GB that day or 20 GB. I finished it in 3 hours. What was I doing? I was looking for what did not lost because of this brain. The first time I knew the biological name of one snail like that as its secondary as the primary host. My teacher could not. She just sat down. That day, she just sat down beside me, and she was looking at me. My biology teacher back then, she knew I was a curious person, so she always made her phone available to me when I was in school. I went to a boarding school, so I could not make use of my phone then. So I always went to her to make use of her phone. So once I come to her office with a book, she would just drop. She has two phones. She will drop one phone. Up there's data. Please let me to manage it though, and she's off. Because the moment I sit down and I see one thing, I'm gone. Anything you're saying, I know it. I will not hear. If you like call me 10 times, I'm not listening to you until I understand what I'm reading, until I see what I'm looking for. Nothing else matters. And so it has
Man,
actually helped me over time. It has helped me in my speech. It has helped me in my communication, relationships, and the rest.
you have like just motivated me to go and start making sure that I finish a book a week. Like,
Right.
as fast as you, I'm gonna try and knock out a book a week.
It's a good goal.
Yeah.
Have you encyclopedia?
Sorry, what did you say?
Have you read the encyclopedias? Any of them?
For the encyclopedia, the first time I saw the encyclopedia, I just skimmed through actually. I would not say I read because I did not sit down to read and read and read. I just skimmed through, just picked something and I closed it. I've not really, that encyclopedia of a thing, that's not really been my thing like that. Whenever I come across the hard copy, because I don't, something like that, I cannot read it on my phone. If I'm going to read something like that on my phone, I'll get bored out because of how bulky it is. So whenever I come across the hard copy, probably in a friend's hand or in a library, I just skim through, pick one or two things, drop it, and I'm up. That's how it has always been for this.
What's your favorite genre to read?
Fiction.
My favorite
genre, like types of books to read.
Do I have a favorite? I don't think I have a favorite.
Okay.
But I read any book available. I read
He said, I ain't got a type.
biographies, memoirs. I don't have a favorite actually.
If it's got words, that's the books that I like.
Literally.
That's what's up. So, all right. Is it safe to say that if there's anything that you are interested in at the moment, you're going to end up reading a book on that? Is it safe to say that?
Ask me a question.
Yes. Is it safe to say that if there's anything that interests you at the moment or you don't know, you're going to start researching that right then and there, and that's what you'll be stuck on.
Definitely.
Man, I need to practice that.
You remember that saying back in the 90s, knowledge is power?
Yeah.
that's what like it's emanating from her right now. Knowledge,
Yeah,
power.
exactly, exactly. I
That's
mean, she said that she didn't know anything about it, and she ended up reading that book in 3 hours. I was like, cheese and bread. I'm like, yo, that's ridiculous. It's not ridiculous. That is amazing. That is marvelous. That is marvelous.
yeah.
That's crazy. And so, marvelous is your government name, the name that you were born with.
Yeah.
Is marvelous the name you were born with?
She said, yeah.
Yeah, her parents already knew.
Mm,
Her
well
parents already
Yes,
knew.
ordained.
yes.
Yeah, her
Ordained.
parents already knew. Her parents already knew, like, yeah, this child of ours is about to be marvelous. Her
Mhm.
mom's like, we should name her Marvelous. The dad's like, yes, yes. That's what's up. All
I
right,
mean, you said you like to sing. Now and then, if I'm not mistaken,
I was about to say that.
I'm not mistaken,
Take
you
it out my
write
mouth.
music as well.
What did you say? Sorry.
You said you sing, right? And so my question,
Yeah.
do you write music? Because I know you said you do spoken word and poetry. Do you write your own music? Like lyrics?
It's actually been long I wrote music. The last time I wrote music was, I think that was 2014, 15. It's long I wrote music. I don't write music. Okay, I wrote music in 2022. Yeah, that was the last time I wrote music. But
I feel
these
like
days, at that time to sit and write music.
I feel like you being because when she asked you that question, you put your head up, and I swear to God, you flushed for a second, and then you answered the question. she was like, yeah. I mean, there's one. I mean, I've seen that before when like you ask somebody like, "Oh, you sing," and they're like, I do a little bit, and then they start. You ask them, "Oh, let me hear something," and they blow you away, and you like, "No, you sang," you know. So I feel like you probably do write music, but that's just a little talent that you don't want everybody to know yet. But it's okay. I ain't gonna put you on the spot.
I just kidding.
Oh, my sister sings and writes music. I think that's one of the reasons she asked you that question.
Yes.
That's what's up. You are talented, Marvelous. You are
Thank you.
talented.
Thank
I'm not
you.
gonna lie. I envy the reading ability you have, and I'm like the way that you can your retention. There's nothing wrong with that. Your retention, because in all honesty, a lot of people can remember what you said 5 minutes ago, but they won't remember anything. Most things that happened 5 years ago. So you have it
Mm,
switched, and I tell people all the time. I'm like, look, we live in a world where the normal is based off the majority. Majority of the people are normal, and then those who I feel have superpowers are considered weird. And I'm like, in all honesty, I'm like, a lot of the individuals who are considered weird, I feel like that's how I feel like the world would be a better place if we were like that. Because think about it, if everybody else thought the way that you thought, I'm like, yo, we be able to pass down knowledge from generations. At the same time, we will be a lot further in technology and healing than we are currently. So it's
That
just like we would constantly be passing knowledge on based off of the fact that you know how they say history repeats itself. You have a recollection of history, which means that you can pass that on to those who are younger. And if we all thought that way and can remember things from long periods of time ago, that didn't even sound right. If we can remember things from the past the way that you can, ooh, you know how different this world could be.
man.
Oh my goodness. You are literally a key to a door that needs to be unlocked. We know that it can, but it needs to be unlocked. And right now, you 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 have something that can really change this world. You have a gift that can really change this world.
You're special. You're very unique.
thank you.
I am thankful that you came on here because I mean I know this. You definitely inspired me. You inspired me. I'm like, I need to start reading more. Oh, that's something that I don't do very often. And how you talked about you can't really read on your phone like that. I understand. And from being in America, everywhere you go, you see people just looking down at their phones constantly. I
All
mean,
the time.
nobody really looks up. Nobody really like engages with other individuals, or they're always behind some type of screen. Now, granted, we're doing this podcast, so we have to be behind the screen currently. So, but other than that, I'm like, there needs to be more individuals who can read. I feel like we're in an era now to where many kids don't know how to read or write because everything is on a tablet or some kind of device. So
Yep.
handwriting is pretty much going out the window. Reading and writing is going out the window because now everybody just relies on YouTube or videos to teach them things. Nobody
Okay.
really knows how to communicate, read, write, and so therefore now they're not going to be able to save any knowledge, preserve any knowledge, because if technology goes away, we just lost everything. We think that we are evolving. In all honestly, we're digressing in our evolution.
Reverting.
Yes, and I'm like, the way that how you are reading and you can recite the things while at the same time adding things from your experiences. I'm like, you are a walking hieroglyph.
Thank you.
Like that is a blessing. That is a blessing.
Yes.
You have anything else, Dolly?
I do. I wanted to ask you this. Have you ever considered,
Drink all my tea.
I know you said you're still in college, still at
Yeah.
university. Have you considered like starting a program for other people who walk through what you walk through?
The only program I'm actually working on currently is a reading program. For the dyslexia, no, I've not considered it.
That's something
I'm
that
only
I.
focused.
Uh-huh.
I'm majorly focusing on reading because I feel if a dyslexia patient can read properly and assimilate properly, then they can work on other areas. Because it is how fast the brain can read and assimilate that will determine how fast you can work on the brain to work on other things.
Okay.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
I've got three more questions. One of my own, and then two that I always ask to anybody who comes on to the podcast. My question is, how are you in teaching individuals?
Oh my,
How are you on teaching? Is it, are you able to teach other individuals things? Like, for example, like my wife, she's a wealth of knowledge. She can't teach you how to add or anything. She has all this knowledge, but she has a hard time passing it on to other individuals. How are you with passing knowledge on to others?
okay, so I do three things. One, I write and I post on my social media platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Two, I have paid mentorships and paid programs. And three, when I have people I meet physically who I know are ready to learn and
Mm-hmm.
implement whatever it is I tell them, I make sure I engage them in conversation, know what their problem is, and recommend things I know that are practical and can work for them. Because I believe if everybody is continually looking at, oh, this is the theory, read, and you're not telling them the practical they can use their hand to find. You're not telling them things they can use their legs to do. You're not telling them things they can use their hands to do. Then you're not telling them the right thing to do.
Process to it too, because exactly how you said, everybody doesn't learn the same. What may work for you may not work for somebody else. And I mean, that's like when
Yeah.
I was in the Marine Corps, I applied that with my leadership too, because I'm like, everybody isn't motivated the same, you know. So it's like you have to understand the individual, what their strengths and their weaknesses are. Work on the weaknesses to build their strengths more. So I mean, I like that response. I like that response. Now, with it, if you could change anything from your past, what would you change, and how would it change who you are today?
If I could change anything from my past, what would I change? I would change my environment first. I would change the environment I was in first. Then I would also change my my environment is actually the major thing I would change. Then I would change my network. I don't really have so much power on my network in the past because I was very young and I'm still
Hmm.
very young. So my environment is the major thing I could have changed because that was the major thing I had power on. And I would have made sure I had a high self esteem where I could talk where I was meant to talk. Because at some point in time, I missed out on certain scholarships because I was always keeping quiet. I missed out on certain international opportunities because I was always quiet. Right. So if at that point in time I learned to talk, I learned to build my self esteem,
Hmm.
then I don't think I'll be in the same place I am in. If I learned to say no to certain things and not please people before myself, I would have progressed than I currently am.
Mm.
She's in red.
And okay, how would it change how I am today? If I had the opportunity to change my environment as at then, I believe right now I would not. First of all, my thinking would I've progressed than it currently is, right? Yeah, I know I have this wide scope of thinking. I think far, 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 far. I make sure when I'm thinking, I don't think just in my
All
past.
right. You said that if you changed your environment, it changed you how?
Okay, so I was saying if I had the opportunity to change my environment, then my thinking would have grown more than it currently is. I would not, because in some situations I limit my thinking. Not because
Hmm.
I don't know I can think further than that, but because I lived in an environment where my thinking was limited. I grew up in a local place. So my it's limited my thinking ability, it's limited the possibilities I could see. So if I was able to change my environment, I would not I would not be till now. Yes, my environment, I've been able to change my environment over time, go to different places. But then there is still this limit I still have to fight against. Coming on this podcast, I never envisioned myself, speaking on a podcast that was not a Nigerian podcast. I've not seen myself speaking on, yes, I've spoken on an international platform before where I had to host an Australian for a program, myself and some of my colleagues hosted via our mentor. But then I never envisioned myself personally speaking on an international podcast, right? Because of that limit I had because of my environment, right? So it's if I was able to change it, then I would not have limited my thinking the way I had limited it, right? I would have gone further than I am here. I remember, I think I had one international opportunity at some point in time, but because of my limited belief, I did not go for it, and it passed me by. They sent reminders over and over and over. But then I was limited. My thinking was limited because of my environment. I did not know it was possible for me to get it until recently, when someone told me that if I had gone for it, then I would have almost been done with university and be getting ready to get my medical degree, right? But then it's passed, and I'm still, yes, I wasted time, but then I'm still moving towards that path, right? And so, concerning my self esteem and speaking of, if I had been able to, have that high self esteem I was meant to have at that point in time, if I would learn to open my mouth when I was meant to open it, till now, there's this uncle of mine that I have. If I'm going to ask him for something, because I still struggle with asking people, opening my mouth to ask for something, he will tell
Hmm.
me, if you're not going straight to the point for what you need, don't come to me. The first time he told me that
Mm.
thing, I felt like he hated me. I felt like, are you trying to say I cannot talk? Are you trying to say I don't know how to talk? That was how it felt to me. But later on, I figured out that going straight to the point, opening your mouth to talk, is not going to reduce what they're going to give to you. It's not going to reduce the help they're going to render to you. Rather, it will even make them want to help you better, right? But I did not learn it early, and it made me miss out on opportunities. I remember if I met a certain lady when I went for a program when I was almost about entering into senior secondary school. And this lady told me that because I was older than her at then. I think that was around 2018 or so. And she told me that because I was still writing fictional books then, fictional stories, sorry. And she told me that she's also a fictional, she writes fictional stories for children, and she publishes her books and sells it in the university. And she said if I wanted to, that I could just come to the university and drop my raw written story, and they're going to do the editing, the publishing, and they sell and give me the money. But then, because I found it
What?
very hard,
Oh
yes,
no.
later on, I was able to tell my aunt, who was more inclined to what I was doing, and my dad. But then
Hmm.
I did not speak so early, and so they did not have that time and opportunity again to take me there, right?
Wow.
If I had spoken at the same time where I got that opportunity, even if it was just my mentor I told at that point in time, I would have had those books published and I would have had it going around. But because I did not speak up, I lost the opportunity. If I had built my
Mm.
self-esteem, I would have been able to, yeah, I met some high net of individuals back then. But because of my low self-esteem, I could not collect their contacts. After that program, I could not reach them again. They went off my tip. And that was the end. Yes, I've over time, because of I've been able to grow, I've been able to evolve and increase my influence and my network. I've met some of them again on different other occasions and would be able to reconnect. But then that opportunity I missed back then, the things I would have been able to get if I had connected with them back then, I've missed it. It has gone. It is only the current one I can get again. And so that's how it has
Man,
You know what?
like I have some more, like you saying that brought up some more questions, but I'm like, nah, 'cause then we're gonna be talking all day. We're gonna be talking. You know what? But we, how much time you got? Let me ask that. What time do you have?
been. I actually don't have any. This is actually the only program I planned for. The coaching program. I actually meant to get on a call with someone, but then I know she's not going to be free till 9,
Mhm.
and we're still in the evening, so I still have time.
Okay. Would you say that you still have those opportunities that you feel that you missed are still available if you were to retrace your steps or either seek them out again?
For the fictional books, I'm not so involved in fictions again. Yeah, I can actually still retrace my steps for fictional books. Still possible, but then getting the lady to still publish those books for me, but I think it will be impossible because it's been long I talked with her. It's been long I connected with her. Right?
Hmm.
It's been over 5 years I got her contact. But I don't think after that year, I don't think we've talked more than twice. So going back to her and saying, "Oh, I'm ready now," it actually sounds somehow. And so I've actually removed that thought. Yeah, I've actually written a book, but it's an ebook, and for now it's for free. But I plan on rewriting the book and making it paid. So
Mhm.
on publishing my books, I'm retracing my steps already, but in a different direction. Then for the international opportunities I missed over time, yeah, I'm actually retracing my steps for some and working on some. And there are some I cannot go back and get again. They are gone. For the people who I lost access to because of my low self-esteem, I can still
Mhm.
meet them. The person who made me connected to them, I'm still connected to the person. So I can still go and meet the person and say, "Oh, this guy I met so and so time. Or this guy so and so person. Who is this? Oh, I'm sorry. This person I met so, this person. How can I get across to the person? There's this thing I want to do with this person." And they can still give me their contact. But then I don't want to go now because I feel I have not built that capacity to approach them and do what I want to do with them. So I'm retracing my steps also in that direction.
Okay. Okay. I can definitely understand on the relationships.
Mhm.
There's reason X's or X's for a reason, and things that did not work out didn't work out for a reason. But for the opportunities, I mean, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Winnie the Pooh, but he has a saying, I often get to where I'm going by leaving where I'm at. And I mean, so with that, it's like if an opportunity ever presented itself, chances are that it's most likely still there. It's just a matter of how bad do you want it. Now, I know of some authors who are who write in fiction and in nonfiction. So, I mean, they have books in both of them, you know? So, I mean, that's something to explore. But, I mean, you know yourself better than me. You know who you are, and you do what you want to do. I'm just planting a seed. So, but with it, is there anything that you would want to say to any listeners?
And there's so much to say, but I'll say just two things. In your time of building, in the time where you're passing through the furnace, in the time where you're going through the pain that would bring out the phoenix in you, don't listen to naysayers. Don't count every word as important, including your parents. I know a lot of people say respect your parents, but there are some things your parents will say that are not meant to align with you. I learned it very late, right? I learned it very late because your parents might not even understand what you are doing. So if you are going to say, because I'm going to respect my parents, every single thing I'm doing, I know it's right. I know it's going to help my life. But because my parents is saying I'm not meant to do it, I'm going to drop it. Don't try it. Rather try to explain to them and get them involved in what you are doing. Let them understand what you are doing. It took a very long time for my daddy to agree to the things I'm doing now. Took a very My mom is still even trying to agree to it. Though she's still sideways. But then I know what I'm pursuing. I know the end goal. And I would not say because one parent is saying, "Don't do this thing," I would not drop it. No. I know if I drop it, the people that will get affected by me dropping it, it's not just one person, it's not two people, it's not three people. Thousands of lives are going to be affected. And so rather than dropping it, rather than listening and saying, because they said I should drop it, I'm going to drop it. No, I would rather make them understand. I will go against them, and make them understand this is why I am doing this thing. The spoken word place I delivered last year. When I told them I was going for that program, I had an invitation. They were like, "No, you're too young to go out. You cannot do this thing. Where are you going to?" We had that. They were even like, I'm not going to give you your fare to the place. I was like, if you like, don't give me the fare. I'm not bothered. I don't care. It was until a day before that program that they started asking me, which clothes are you wearing? It was funny. And it turned out that the dress I was meant to wear to that program, it was not ready yet. I was still thinking of, what would I even wear like this? I was just going to wear one clothes. It was a day to the program. I started sewing the skirt I was going to wear. It was the morning of the program. I had to look for the shirt I wore to that program. But before then, weeks before then, days before then, we've been fighting over you're going or you're not going. But because they saw that I was so placed on I'm going, they said I was not ready to give up on what I wanted to do. They agreed. So everybody would not agree with you at the beginning. Your process will look like nonsense to people at the beginning until the results will start to show forth before they would understand what you are doing. So don't always, it's not every no you listen to. It is not every yes you also listen to. Learn to filter the words you hear. Learn to filter the things you listen to. Learn to filter what you accept and what you ignore. Make all your values in high regard. Make your principles very dear to you that nobody can out trash you.
Please.
Right. And aside from learning to say no, aside from learning to filter your words, aside from learning to stand your ground and make sure you do the things you do, don't ignore the process. Don't try to jump out of one process. Don't try to jump out of the print. Don't say, oh, I can skip this thing now. It's not important I do it. Don't try it. After I got my freedom from, speech and writing, I could have told myself I was no longer reading because I've gotten what I wanted. I could have told myself, oh, there's no need for me to do this thing again. I can just leave it and the books are for the readers. What's my business? I'm just meant to be in one corner, living my life, and I'm on. I never of a truth, I never imagined myself doing public speaking. I will say the truth. I never imagined myself doing public speaking. I never imagined myself being on social media and writing, people reaching out to me, I need this help, I need this help. I never imagined myself in that way. Right. I could have left reading. I could have said, the process of reading, the results from reading, I've gotten it. What else? Why do I need reading again? But no, I also learned that there is no process that is meant to be left aside. There's no process that is meant to be thrown away. And there's no process that is meant to be ignored. Because the result of every process, the fruits of every process would come back onto you. So if you ignored it, you will get the bad side of it. If you left it halfway, you will still get the bad side. It's only if you finish through the process that you get the right result. Don't ignore any process. Don't leave the process halfway. Don't say I've done it, I've gotten my result, that's the end. Continue. There's still more at the front. You can never know the end of a thing. You cannot see it finish. So continue. There is more at the front. There is more in the future that I yet to see. There are some things I'm saying today that I learned over 7 years ago. There are some things that some people would ask me today and they'll feel I just learned it yesterday. But no, I did not just learn it yesterday. I've learned it a long time ago. But as at then, it did not make sense to me. Some of my exams, even in the university, some of my courses, the things they are doing in the course, the things they are doing in that lecture, I've read about them years ago. I know them since. As at then, it did not make sense to me, but I was still learning. And now I know that it's the energy that I would have put into learning it again now. I'm putting it in more different things that would bring more results for me. If I had ignored them then, I would not have to start struggling with learning those things again. So don't ignore the process. There is nothing that is stupid. There is no stupid book. There is no stupid knowledge. There is no stupid process. It is left for you to make the most out of it. Thank you.
Yo, that is beautiful. I swear, like you just talking, it felt like I was listening to like a motivational speech on YouTube as I'm about to like go to the gym and do a workout. Trust the process. Don't ever give up on the process. I'm like, I got this. I'm gonna go pick up heavy things, pick it up, put it back down, pick it back up, put it back down. Walk out that gym like the let man.
Trust
Completely.
the
Oh,
process.
I'm
Yes.
sorry. I'm sorry. Before I forget, let me mention this. Don't
Hmm.
ever ignore relationships. Don't ever ignore relationships. Yeah, I know a lot of people emphasize so much on building relationships, right? But now I'm not just saying wake up one morning and start building relationships. No, that's not what I'm saying. You know, myself and my friend were discussing 2 days ago. My best friend, that's the person I discuss everything with. No, we're on the same level intellectually. He reads where I read, he even reads more than myself. I'm still learning beside him. And it was like marvelous. You haven't because in the last month on my social media pages, I majored on how reading and relationship are interrelated. And I was like, yeah, emphasizing on relationships so much. But you know there's a clause to relationships. And I said yes, I know there's a clause to it. But then I need people to first of all know the positive effect of it before I mention the flaws to it. Right. So make sure you are building relationships. And when I say building relation, make sure you are building the right relationship. Make sure you are building profitable relationships. Don't just wake up one morning and go and meet one loud and say that is the person I'm building a relationship with. No. Don't wake up one morning and go and meet someone that does not even know where the next direction for their life is, has not found their legs. They don't know where their left leg is going to. And you say that the person I'm building. No, build a
Fact.
relationship with the right people. And people would always ask, how do I build quality relationships? Make sure you have quality. It is what you have that would attract what you want. You want to build a relationship with someone in the highest pyramid. Make sure you have the quality the person is looking for. Can you solve a problem for that person? What can the person get from you that would add to that person's life? If you have nothing of such, don't try even approaching that person. They will throw you away before you know it. They will not even remember you're existing. So while you are pursuing quality relationship, while you are trying to build a relationship with someone or something, make sure you yourself you are qualified for that relationship. Make sure you
Woo!
have the values. Make sure you have the values that that person is looking for that would attract that person. Make sure that in the next 5 years, if the person should look back and say, this person started being in a relationship with me, this is what I have learned from this person, this is what I have gotten from this person. With that thing the person is talking about, will this help the person's life in the next 10 years? So you are also building yourself as you are building relation. Don't ignore yourself. Oh. You can grow on your own. You can grow on your own. I would not disagree. But you must grow with somebody. So you have to still build the relationship. But don't rely your entire lifetime on the relationship you are building. Make sure you're also building yourself. Because if you should focus on just the relationship you are building, they will throw you out of the relationship before you know it. This issue of relationship actually cuts across every area of life, whether marriage, whether friendship, whether reading. There is no area of life that does not require relationship. There is no area of your life that relationship is not important. Education, you need relationships. And I would always say, have different relationships for different areas of life. For me personally, I have friends that are only my friends academically. Anything outside of academics, you cannot see us together. I have friends that are for my personal development. Anything outside of personal development, you cannot see us together.
Mhm.
I have friends for my spiritual life. Anything outside of spiritual life, you cannot even hear that we know ourselves. When it comes to how I'm going to improve on my public speaking, my writing, I have a friend for that. I have a friend that knows every area of my life in and out. I know that this one, there is no area of my life that we don't know about each other, right?
Yes.
So categorize people in your life. Everybody is not for everything in your life. My friend will say, if you are for everybody, you are for no one.
Ooh,
If
that
you
part
have
there.
everything, you have nothing. See, the day my friend mentioned, what the day my friend mentioned that statement to me, it struck me because everybody was always saying, "I am marvelous friend. Marvelous is my friend. Marvelous is my friend." I know my friend was like, "Why would everybody be your friend? Why is everybody always mentioning marvelous, marvelous? Anywhere you're going like this, everybody is coming to meet you. What is wrong with you? What are you doing?" And
Mhm.
he said, "If you are for everybody, you are for nobody." And I was like, marvelous, if you are for everybody, you cannot be my friend. And I was like that day, I sat down to think about my life. You know when someone makes one statement and it's as if the person has been ringing it in your ears for 5 years. That was how it felt to me. So don't be for everybody. Be scarce. Be specific.
Yep.
Prioritize the right people for the right places for the right things. The definition of discipline I've always worked with, it was my secondary school principal that taught me this definition, and it has helped my life over time. Discipline is not just about disciplining yourself not to do things. It's about doing the right thing at the right time in the right manner. Before you can say I'm a disciplined person, are you doing the right thing at the right time and in the right manner? If they say, for example, this podcast, if I'm doing this podcast at the time when I'm meant to be on a call with someone who needs my help, I'm not
Hmm.
disciplined. It is the right
Oh no, 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 man! I don't know why this be
Right.
happening, yo. I don't know why this be happening. Oh, when y'all start getting into it, something it comes and says, "Hey, hold on, we got to hold on real quick." Oh, I know
Oh,
she's gonna be back. She gonna be back. She gonna be back. This happened once before already, and she popped back in. But
he is
let's put
my
it.
spirit animal. She is my spirit animal. She said, everybody is not your friend. Everybody
Yeah.
has a specific role. You the person
Yep.
for over here. Don't be trying to be over here. I can't bring you over here. This is
Yep.
it. This
And
is
I
your
mean,
spot. Stay in
I
your
love the
lane.
fact she said that she speaks from experience, and I'm like, that's the same thing that I do. And I mean, it just so happens that I have to go through things to really understand it. And I mean, it sucks because I'm the same way. Even that's how I learn. I learn by doing. And so, I mean, with
Bless
her
your heart.
coming through, I know it sucks. It sucks. But even with her coming through and saying that, like I say myself, I'm like, I can trust everybody, but I can only trust, I know that I can trust people with certain things. I can't trust everybody with everything. I'm like, so with it, it's like, I might trust you to give me a glass of water, but I'm not going to trust you to watch my kids, you know? This is Mrs. Sigma Uno. This is Mr. Sigma Uno's wife. That's also my mother in law. But
all
yeah, she
right. So
said that you are her spirit animal.
no spirit animal. All right. So I'm sorry for that blackout. Yeah. So as I was saying, where did I stop? I was talking about not being for everybody. Oh, I was talking about discipline. Yeah, I was
Hmm.
talking about discipline. So if I'm meant to be on a call with someone, probably someone who paid for a 30-minute session or a 2-hour session, or probably for my mentorship, and I'm meant to be on a call with that person, and I'm on this call, I'm not disciplined. I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing it in the right manner, but I'm not doing it at the right time. So there's a clause already. I'm no longer disciplined. Until I'm doing the right thing at the right time in the right manner, can I say I'm disciplined? Right. So that's how it has always been. I've learned to, yeah, you see, you can fight with me because of it. You can fight with me. In my
Yeah.
house, if I know I'm meant to be on a session and you're not calling me to come and cook for you, I'm sorry, you will not eat. You will not eat. Not because I don't want to cook, not because I don't know that you're meant to eat, but because there's something that I'm meant to be doing at that time. I'm not going to answer you. You will shout. You will talk. When you are ready, you will go and cook by yourself. Because I am working with that one mantra, and I can, because of one person, I cannot tweak it. I cannot change it because I need to be disciplined. And so let it also work with you. Don't say because of one person is calling me somewhere, and you know you're meant to be doing something. You now say, I am a disciplined person. If someone calls me, like I will answer the person fast, fast. You're not disciplined though. You're not disciplined. Rah, rah. One beat. You're not disciplined because you're not doing the right thing at the right time, in the right manner. So learn to do the right thing at the right time, in the right manner. Don't be for everybody, be for one person. Be specific, prioritize the right things at the right time, in the right manner. And make sure to always categorize people to where they are meant to be. Don't let everybody be able to approach you anytime. If it's that everybody in your circle can approach you anytime, you are still for everybody. Set boundaries, set healthy boundaries, and be firm with it. For me personally, there are some people I can call 12 o'clock in the midnight and they will pick my call. There are some people I cannot call if it's not 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Anything that is outside of 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I cannot call them. And if I'm going to call them, it has to be on a specific area. If it's out of that area, I cannot call them. And some people, if I am dying, I know I can call these people if I am dying. They would leave whatever it is they are doing and rush down and meet me. There are some people, yes, you might even know them as my very, very close friends. But even if I'm dying, I cannot call their line because I have categorized them in a certain spot and I cannot go out of that spot. Right. So, like I said earlier, you cannot be for everybody. If you are for everybody, you are for nobody. Focus
Noted.
on something at a time. Thank you. And if
Noted.
you're a multitasker like me, you love doing a lot of things at the same time. Probably you're on a call, you're responding to messages at the same time, like I just did, or probably you can be eating as you're teaching, or you can be talking to one person, you're talking to the next person also, and you're saying two different things at the same time. You might be like me, but also learn to do one thing at one time. Don't always, yes, you love multitasking, you can do it effectively. I understand your standing point. I know it is a gift. No, I'm not talking down on it. But learn to also do one thing at a time. Learn to put your energy in one thing at a time. If you have a personality where your energy dies down if you don't do something immediately, learn not to procrastinate.
Mm.
Also, yeah. You know, for some people, I'll use myself also as an example. For me, if I'm going to do something today and I no longer do it today, and the energy dies down after today, the next time I'll be doing it, I'll do it sluggish and I'll not do it well. So if you're like that, don't procrastinate things. If you are going to do something now, do it now and forget about it. But if you know you can sustain your energy for as long as you want, and what you want to do is not so important, you can leave it. I don't have an issue with it. But learn to do things as it comes. If you have an energy that dies out fast, that you cannot sustain.
Well,
Yeah.
see, you teaching me some stuff about myself right now. Like that's literally how I am. If I'm doing something and you interrupt me, I often get upset. Like with the job that I'm working currently, I'll like be cleaning or something, and then somebody will come over there and expect me to do something else, and I'm just like, I need to finish this because if I don't finish it, I'm gonna forget what I was doing, and then I'll start a new task, and I won't get back to it until I end up seeing like, oh, that's messed up. I need to finish. I need to do this, but I'll forget that I was already doing it, or either it'll hit me and be like, that's right, I was doing that earlier. So I mean, one thing that I'm trying to do is when I think of something, I go ahead and do it. So if I'm just like, I want to go for a walk, I'm like, man, you know what, let me go for a walk. Because I see that as a level of procrastination if I don't do it right then and there. If it crosses my mind, obviously my body's trying to tell me that that's something I need to do. So I'm just like, all right, let me do that. Now it's not like things where I'm like, I should shoot this person. I don't do things like that. But I mean, like when it comes down to like, oh, I should go ahead and cook this meal. And then I mean it usually works out because maybe later on we won't have the time to cook. It's like my body, it's like my body and my mind are inform me of what needs to happen. So therefore, right there, I'm just like, let me go ahead and knock it out because otherwise, oftentimes I end up forgetting. I don't get back to it. So I mean, you saying that hit for me. That hit for me. These are things that I'm noticing for myself. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. And I definitely know there's other individuals who are going to be listening to this that will be able to benefit from that as well. You have anything, Mrs. Sigmuno?
No, she's on point.
She
We
said,
live
"No."
some of the same stuff. Apparently, I am in full agreement. Everything is not for everybody, including yourself. You can't be for everybody. You can't. Because if you're for everybody, what do you love for yourself? You have to self-preservation. Because there's nobody else that's going to preserve you but you.
Yeah.
Marvelous. That was marvelous. Like true talk, no lie. Let me go ahead and boom. Marvelous. I thank you so much for joining us today on the Divine Time podcast. Literally, it was a blessing for you to be on. That are you a motivational speaker? I know you said a public speaker, but you motivational speaker too? Like is that one of your little trades?
I tell you don't. I'm not a fan
You
of motivational speaking because I believe in letting the words eat you immediately. What is the essence of motivating you when you're not going to do it? Please let it eat you once and for all. I don't love motivational speaking. Yeah, I have the traits. I know I can do it, but then it's not
mhm.
my thing because I don't love it.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. I'm just saying this. You definitely motivated me because when I get done with this, I'm like, you know what? I got some stuff I need to do. Let me hop down and buckle down on that. So, definitely. Wow. Oh man. I'm sorry. I just started thinking of things. I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna talk to you some more offline. I'm gonna go ahead and do an outro on this, and I'm gonna talk with you some more because I definitely want to pull you back on here for some future conversations. Okay.
All right.
All right. So with that, like I said, this was another episode of Divine Time. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a voice. And as we heard today, Marvelous missed out on some things because she didn't speak up. Her life could be different if she had spoken up. Just like how we go through things in life, our voice, saying something, doing something, can impact your life and possibly others as well. I know that there was a lot of us who have been empowered from her story today when her mind was racing so fast to where she isolated herself from other individuals. I know there's other individuals, my wife included, because the story was really similar, to where you feel like you are stuck and you are alone in situations that you have gone through. You're never alone. There's always somebody who is going through something similar, has gone through something similar. And you speaking up can possibly validate the feelings that they have as well. My biggest thing to anybody who is listening is know that anything is possible. If you put your mind to it and you trust the process. Thank you, Marvelous. Relax your mind.